Hello and welcome to Walker Tea Review. I'm Jason Walker here to present a tea that I hope that it's something that you want to try for yourself. You can always go back and order these teas and just kind of follow along and taste as I taste and experience exactly what I'm tasting. You know, they're at home or with friends or at the office, even if you can get away with it. Now what I'm doing here is I've got an oolong. It's a Taiwanese oolong, and they're rolled into balls, and I'm going to put in enough to kind of cover that basic that 1-inch diameter there on the bottom. And so because these are rolled, they're going to unfurl quite a bit, and so I want to have enough there to do that without adding too much. My water's been brought to a boil, and it's been cooling for under a minute, so it's still got plenty of heat to it. I'm going to set that aside and close this up, and I'm going to let this one steep a little bit longer because it is an oolong, and because first steepings of oolongs, rolled oolongs like this, need time to unfurl and release more character. So while that's going on, talk a little bit about this tea and kind of introduce it. This is from GrandTea, GrandTea.com. This is their AliShan, which, as I mentioned, this is a Taiwanese tea. The name would imply this is from the AliShan, the Ali Mountain area of Taiwan. You can find 100 grams available for $21.20 currently. It is one that, as you'll look at this one, some of the things that we'll be talking about is how the level of if there's much roasting involved with this, aromas and one of the things that you're going to be noting, your initial reactions to a lot of Taiwanese oolongs like this one will be the initial aroma flavor components, but then you want to get past that to really examine how this tea feels on the mouth, what kind of aftertaste it builds up, because a lot of teas can give that initial aroma, and that's all the show they offer. It's what happens after that you really be able to distinguish the differences in these kinds of teas. So let me kind of give this one a look at the dry leaf and the aroma here. I get a little bit of a kind of a gingerbread type note. There's something kind of sweet, warm, lightly toasty type of aspect there. With that is also a little bit there's a little bit of a sweet kind of floral, something like an English laurel, some of the shrub type or floral bush type smells that you may get. Butterfly bush is in bloom right now, and you may make some associations there. Looking at these leaves, these are like a lot of Taiwanese oolongs from upper elevations, like this one, as this one is. They are rolled into balls. It looks like I suspect that it's going to be more than one leaf in many occasions rolled together. You've got some deeper green. You're moving over towards a bluish gray with the green there, so it's a green bluish gray with still some lighter, brighter green, slightly yellow type colors here as well. Actually, some fairly large clumps here. You can still see the ends of the stems because this is a section of the branch, you could say, where more than one leaf is connected to that section of the branch. And again, fairly larger than some of the balls or rolls that I've seen in other AliShans. So I'm going to close that up for now. Get to the pouring here. My leaves have actually unfurled fairly nicely. So I'm going to angle my lid over to the side there, pour from a gaiwan. Gaiwans are fairly quick, convenient, easy as far as using, and especially for cleaning out. Easy to just open that lid, dump out your leaves, rinse out your bowl fairly easily. So let that sit for just a moment and talk about this wet leaf. Get a good smell of it first. Okay, pleasant aromas coming off. There is that. That again a little bit of a faint kind of sweet to gingerbread type smell. Some of that English laurel shrub type, floral shrub type smell coming out still. Combine that with a little bit of there's a sweet green pea component there, so you do get move a little bit over towards the kind of vegetal floral sweet type of smells there too. Looking at these leaves, let me pull out a few of these to show and talk about. Show and tell. Just grab this one here. What do I have here? I've got one leaf. Here's the bottom of the stem here. One leaf, not fully unfurled. Let me turn it over here. A second. Okay, a third over here. A fourth, a smaller one, say 3/4 of an inch in length, half an inch or so. And what looks to be a tip or half of a tip there. So I'm going to set that one on my lid to show that. Looking at the edges of these leaves, I see blotchy areas, and even almost fully consistent sections, maybe even whole sides of the leaf along the jagged. If you look at a tea leaf, they often have these kind of jagged teeth on the very outer edge. And for this particular one, several of the leaves on this group here, those jagged teeth have become rust brown in color, rust red, rust brown color, indicating that some oxidation took place, especially on the outer edges of these leaves. Another set here, maybe a third of a leaf there, and then a more fully intact tip there as well. So I'm going to try to space those out so that they can be looked at. And for the most part, as I just kind of grab another set, 3 leaves at least there, 2.5 leaves there. So several good sections here, lots of leaves together as you see there. So good representation here is what I've pulled out so far. Edges of leaves are also, in several cases, fairly ragged, indicating that these leaves got crumpled, maybe a little damaged in the rolling process or in the process of pulling leaves apart, or maybe even some of the application of heat dried out those pieces and they crumbled off. Looking at the edges of the stems here, these actually, they have a little bit of oxidation to them, but these look more closely resemble, I'll say it this way, they more closely resemble having been plucked rather than cut. Let me just quickly review this for just a second here. Although on the other hand, a couple of these others look like they've been sheared, cut by clippers or hand scissors, so that they had a cleaner cut. Although I would say that oxidation on these ends is less obvious than on some others that I've noted. Okay, indicating this would looks to be more of a more gentler, smoother type of cut or break off of the tea bush, and so that means that less oxidation took place, and that means that less of that flavor interfered or got into our liquor. So moving on to the liquor here, nice, fairly bright color. Good, a deeper yellow type of tinge there. Again, aromas are staying in that same neighborhood of the gingerbread and English laurel. A little bit of floral there. Let me pour a little bit. Looking down through the cup here, yes, still fairly good clarity and brightness. Okay, as an AliShan, that has apparently a little bit comparatively less oxidation, comparatively lower firing, or I should say roasting, applied to it. What you're going to find is this type generally performs better as it cools off. It can get a little bit sweeter. It can get more aromatic. This one in particular, I got similar characteristics. Gingerbread, English laurel is coming out. This particular AliShans don't necessarily have the most pronounced broth, although I would say that this particular AliShan was a gentler broth than some other AliShans that I've experienced. Okay. And okay, there's I would say a medium light broth that the astringency there's a dryness that really jumps out fairly quickly, and kind of detracts from the brothy aspect there. Aftertaste cool, and you do get this sweetness that tends to build in the back, in the lower part of your jaw, underneath your tongue. That's where the sweetness kind of builds. It's not really rising up from the throat. It's just staying there in the back, underside of the tongue in the back. And so that's a positive, nice, sweet, moving, almost kind of a honey type of feel, and the aftertaste of having taken a teaspoon of honey. So the aftertaste is building somewhat. The texture there, the broth could have been a bit richer. I would say that this tea deserves an 87. It's got some components to it. Again, it's not the most refined AliShan that I've come across. So come back to Walker Tea Review to find the teas that really, like I said, build on all those areas: the taste, the aroma, the texture, and the aftertaste.